This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance coming to you from Sacramento today, joined by Sharon Quirk-Silva, a member of the California State Assembly. We call her a redshirt sophomore because she was elected in 2012. In 2014, did not return, but came back in 2016 with two other members who came back. That's Raul Bocanegra and Almer Tsushi. How is it to come back after a 2-year hiatus?
Well, I'm honored to be elected again and to return, and it's a little bit of having some history from knowing quite a few of the legislators and also the processes, but it's also great to see a new class.
So let's talk, though, about that kind of 2-year hiatus and what you learned, because you won in 12 in somewhat of an upset. In 14, there was a Republican wave that took out a few of you, but then come back in 16 pretty handily. So what did you learn about your Orange County communities?
Well, I think it definitely says that the 65th district is in a swing district, and we may be swinging back and forth, but it also, I think, when you lose, you can always learn something. So I went right back to the classroom 3 weeks later with junior high students.
Oh, you're a teacher?
A teacher.
As is your husband, I understand.
Over 30 years, junior high, mostly boys, and we worked quite a bit on having them improve, and through that I made a decision to run again.
But when your district is swinging like it's been swinging, what is it swinging over? What issues? I mean, you more than anyone, because you're in a swing seat, probably have a pulse, a sense of what the people are thinking, discussing, ruminating.
I think some of the key issues that the voters in the 65th district are always aware of are issues that are going to affect their daily life. So whether it be how much it's going to cost to send their children to college, whether it be how much rent is. We know affordability, housing affordability in Orange County is skyrocket. So those type of day-to-day expenses that really mean something in their lives are something that we have to not only focus on but be aware of.
Let's talk about higher education, if we may. You mentioned it. As you know, with regard to the UC system, we had not seen an increase in tuition since 2011. Now we're 2017 and we are seeing a bump of about 2.5%. 6 years is a nice amount of time not to have an increase. Now we see a bump. What do you make of it?
Well, we want to continue to see that tuition increases stand at a stable rate, and we actually introduced legislation, AB 393, to keep a moratorium on Cal State tuition.
Cal State.
Right.
Which has not increased their tuition for quite some time, and they're not doing it this year.
Well, they haven't increased tuition, but they have increased student fees. Right. So there's many fees that are piled upon that tuition. But what we do know that is increased is all the living expenses.
Right.
So that as those increase, we know that students are working more and more. We know they're taking on more debt. And so our concern with those tuition increases is that we're keeping students out of four-year college. And so we have introduced this legislation. We want a moratorium, particularly now that we have found under the UC budget there are up to $175 million that has not been accounted for.
And let's talk about that, because there was tremendous frustration in the legislature when State Auditor Elaine Howell came out with this audit, which suggested that there was this money found, $175 million. The governor also is upset about it. In his May revise, he said he is withholding $50 million from the UC until they accept certain audit recommendations, promise to accept more transfer students from the California community colleges.
Exactly, and as I sit on the Higher Education Committee, I've been very involved with not only reading the audit, speaking directly with the auditor, but also sitting on the oversight hearing where we had the president come. And as I listened to her, one of the startling piece of information was not just the money that was not shown to the regents, $175 million, but also 1,600 employees under the president's umbrella in just her office. So this, to me, is a huge amount of employees, and because the auditor wanted to find duplication, she checked in with the campuses, and that's where some of those emails had shown up, was their coordination. So I'm concerned.
Yeah, so your concern is so much that you've called for her resignation, but I'm wondering, though, have we jumped too quickly on this question? Because the auditor has come back and has said that maybe that the money was there, but there weren't nefarious motives. And so do we need to take a step back and say, well, let's look deeper into this? Could that have been merely just a rainy day fund?
And I agree, it could have been, and there's certainly some of those funds that could have been allocated for programs. So whether it's $34 million or $175 million, I just think being transparent to, of course, your regions, but also to us as the state is incredibly important, especially this year as we continue to hear of students, many students, not only having tuition issues, but issues of housing, issues of many campuses, right, are suggesting food pantries, all of these type of really day-to-day issues. And so I think the message we send from the top, as far as the president goes, is very important as being able to use our resources carefully.
But who are we punishing, though, if we withhold $50 million? That's my concern, because then that's money that needs to be offset if it doesn't go to the UC system.
Well, I think that, as was shown, there is that money that they can draw on that was held back.
Okay.
But secondly, I think that, again, when their further reports showed $13,000 for a retirement, which is actually the amount of a yearly tuition for a student.
Right.
And again, I know that there's traveling expenses, but when you're looking at them item by item, $8,000 for an apartment in Oakland, I think we have to show moderation at the top, especially when we know how many of our students are struggling.
I was surprised to learn that Orange County, with, 3 million people living in that region, has no veterans cemetery, but you are working to bring one to that great area.
I am, and I'm extremely proud to have served as the Veterans Chair in 2012, and also to have brought forward legislation, AB 1453, that identified a site in Irvine, 125 acres for a veterans cemetery. As we served, we moved forward with that legislation, and a site analysis was done of the property. Now that I'm back in the State Assembly in 2016, that's right, we have new legislation that will continue to move this project forward. A new development is a secondary site called the Strawberry site.
Do you need to work with your friends in the United States Congress on this?
We do, and so we actually a few weeks ago had a visit with not only the governor but the state assembly speaker Anthony Rendon to visit the site, and congressional member Mimi Walters came out. She fully supports the plan, along with all my Republican colleagues that represent that area.
Well, that's what we want, bipartisan support.
Yes, and I think that it's really a testament in these times of gridlock and legislators and others not compromising, that we can work together collaboratively on both sides of the aisle to do nothing better than an Orange County cemetery.
Her name is Sharon Quirk-Silva. She is a member of the California State Assembly. She represents beautiful portions of Orange County, California. My name is Brad Pomerance. In Sacramento, it's Local Edition.